So the ambition to try and get these 4,000 people on a plane before May or even before November next year, it does seem to be very, very ambitious, and especially in the numbers that Rishi Sunak seems to be touting. At the moment, as we stand, more Home Secretaries have gone to Rwanda than actual refugees. That is
Right.
the fact.
Now, Rishi Sunak is drawing up plans to deport more than 4,000 migrants to Rwanda by the next election as officials step up preparations ahead of next week's Supreme Court hearing. Ministers are privately confident of winning the case, which will be heard over 3 days from Monday by 5 of Britain's most senior judges. It will be a pivotal moment in Mr. Sunak's premiership. Well, let's talk to immigration lawyer Harjap Singh Bhangal. Harjap, hello to you. Good evening.
Good evening, Henry.
Now, some lawyers think these flights will never get off the ground. There are just too many logistical and legal problems. How seriously do you take plans for 4,000 people?
It's just not workable, Henry. They haven't got the spaces, first of all. There's only about 500 spaces. Out of that, also, we would have to take some people from Rwanda in as well. So that leaves a net of about maybe 300. It's expensive. Also, 4,000 people being told to go to Rwanda will also mean 4,000 appeals, because every person who gets a notice to go to Rwanda has a right to appeal in 14 days. And there's been recent evidence to suggest, coming from secret recordings and human rights reports, that there is threat to refugees in Rwanda. And when people get sent back, there is a chance that children may be sold into a child slavery and forced to become child soldiers.
Well, Harjap,
So a lot of
I've
stuff
not
is
heard
coming
about
out.
these, and the Rwandan government would very strongly deny that. In fact,
Yes,
I
that,
heard
and they do.
Yeah, I mean, the High Commissioner the other day was saying Rwanda has a very strong track record of receiving people from trouble spots around Central Africa. But when it comes to appeals, isn't the scope for appeal going to be drastically reduced by the illegal migration bill?
Yeah, it will. But one of the grounds is that it is unsafe to, and is a threat to human life if they're sent to Rwanda. Now, there is credible evidence from organizations such as Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, who've published reports saying that Rwanda isn't safe. So there will be individual hearings on that, and it will be delayed. And these have to go through a process, through the courts again. So the ambition to try and get these 4,000 people on a plane before May or even before November next year, it does seem to be very, very ambitious, and especially in the numbers that Rishi Sunak seems to be touting. At the moment, as we stand, more Home Secretaries have gone to Rwanda than actual refugees. That is
Right.
the fact.
Let me
Let's
ask
go
you
on
something
that.
else before we close. Okay. You said we would have to receive people from Rwanda. Why would that be?
Because there's a reciprocal deal that we signed with them, and that's part of the clause of the deal. And we do take refugees from Rwanda currently as well. So if Rwanda was that safe, why are we taking refugees from there? So there are lots of arguments to be made about whether Rwanda is safe or not, and I'm sure lawyers will be making them and judges will be hearing them, and we'll be talking about this way into next year. And I can tell you now, I doubt 4,000 people will be put on a plane by November. That seems overambitious. Every commentator is saying that. But let's see. Let's see if they do actually get Suella Braverman's dream, did she say it was, to see
Her
people
dream
on a
on the
plane
front
to
page of
Rwanda?
the Telegraph, yes. Harjap Singh Bhangal, thank you very much indeed. Harjap is an immigration lawyer. Let's speak now to Kolbasia Hausu, who is the co-founder of Survivors Speak Out. And Kolbasia, you came to the UK as a refugee quite some time ago now from the North Central African country of Chad. When you hear that the Prime Minister and the Home Secretary are so determined they've made plans for 4,000 people to be removed from this country and sent to Rwanda, how do you react?
Thank you for having me. I think first and foremost, I just find it, disturbing that, the Home Secretary and also the Prime Minister really doggedly focusing on just sending, people deporting people that are coming here seeking protections. And I think, for the case of Rwanda, I think we found out that from the court that is unlawful. Mm-hmm. And also, hearing from the gentleman that just spoke there, there is only 500 space available. 4,000. Where those 4,000 are going to be, put.
I presume what will happen is that as the system for checking applications is stepped up and they are recruiting more and more people to do this, then people will be moved from hotels, almost conveyor belt style, to the Bibi Stockholm or another pre-deportation centre. And then once the first flight goes, the notion is that might be enough to stop the flow for the rest of the year. It will be a serious deterrent to people. How much of a deterrent do you think it will be if they manage to get these flights off the ground, if they win the case and any appeals?
Well, I think it won't be a deterrent. I think people are going to continue coming here. But instead of presenting themselves to the Home Office and then try to regularize the situation, people just going to go underground. Because I think that's the reality of the thing that is going to happen. Because if people feel that they're not going to get the case here fairly, they will just disappear, and then we're just creating more problem, and people are going to be used for modern slavery and all those kind of things that people are going to be exploited. That's a real fear that it may happen too.
And Kolbasia, how do you compare the atmosphere and the willingness of this country to accept refugees as you were accepted in 2005? Compare what your reception was like in 2005 with the reception people are getting now. How would you compare the two?
I think because if we're talking about people, the way that I've been receiving the communities, the way that I experienced people, for me, I only seen respect, welcoming. I will show compassion, and quite a lot of people, even right now, that I'm telling you, have the same feeling. We are not losing that, culture, the tradition of welcoming nation, of a compassionate nation, and even the fact that we push the government to stop the flight, and then we will push fly operator not to be engaged with the government.
Oh, the charter flights,
people. Yeah, the charter.
Yeah.
That's coming from the people.
Right.
And that's the people that are saying that no, not under our name.
So you think there's a gap between the rhetoric of the politicians and the people's attitudes on the ground. Kolbasia Hausu, co-founder of Survivors Speak Out, thank you very much indeed